Hello everybody and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be helping you guys beat Punisher's Crypt Abyss hard. Now before we get into the video, I must give you guys a small warning. Punisher's Crypt should be one of the last dungeons, PvE dungeons you aim to complete in this game. I think you should, honest God, and this is my opinion, you should be completing Giant's Keep around a minute, give or take 10 or so seconds. Dragon's Lair, Necropolis, and all the Rift Beasts with triple S, and heck, maybe even Rift Raid level 5 before you come here into Punisher's Crypt. Reason being is because this is a very tough dungeon. In my opinion, out of all the dungeons I've made teams for, Punisher's Crypt has been the absolute hardest, especially free to play. I mean, when you're considering like 4 and 5 star units, which we will consider when going through this video, it becomes easier. But when you're talking about free to play where everyone can do it, Punisher's Crypt is just a little bit more difficult. I mean, the amount of stats you need is pretty high and all that, and I don't know. And on top of that, just artifacts, while I do think artifacts are important, I mean, you get artifacts like I don't know, like something like this. It's like these artifacts are good. Crit damage as enemy has more HP, max 17%, and then skill 2 crit damage, whatever. All these are really good. It's like you do want to have these artifacts eventually. They're really helpful even in PvE cases, right? To have them in PvE where you're increasing accuracy, you're increasing damage. All these are really amazing. But runes are more important in the sense that runes offer you more. Artifacts are like an added bonus. So for just the difficulty that these dungeons give, in turn for the rewards that they're offering, it's just complete everything else first. Though you ain't here for that. You just want to learn how to beat it, and I'm here to help you beat it. So without any further ado, what we're going to do, we're going to go through the strategy info, kind of go over the Punisher's Crypt boss's skills and all that. I'll explain them to you in case anyone is having trouble with it. I'll give you 1 or 2 free-to-play teams, and then we'll hop into a couple not-so-free-to-play teams that you might be able to build that are just more efficient. But with that being said, let's get into the strategy info. Okay, so here we are in the strategy info, and when you go and read all of the skills and the crystals and everything, you can really, truly realize how just scary this boss is. I mean, if you do not know the exact strategy for beating this boss, you will never beat it, right? So let's kind of read this little description here. Ancient Punisher skills get enhanced when she acquires certain turns from the Punisher Sword passive and performs powerful attacks according to her attack speed. So let's quickly look at the Punisher's Sword passive. Punisher's Sword passive is this right here. The skills will be enhanced as follows when the Ancient Punisher gains a designated turn. So on the 5th turn, Dance of Swords' number of attacks will be increased up to 3 times according to the attack speed. So of course, the more attack speed that the boss has, the more attacks that she will deal on your team. Obviously, you don't want this boss to do any damage to your team. You want the boss to do as little damage as possible, because if you don't, your squishies will die. And you're going to have a lot of squishies on this team, trust me. On the 10th turn, Conviction's damage will be increased up to 100% according to attack speed. So not only is she dealing more damage, like in terms of the number of hits, she's doing more hits, but she's dealing 100% more damage with Conviction. On the 20th turn, all attacks will ignore the enemy's defense up to 100% according to the attack speed. So she's ignoring defense, she's dealing more hits, she's dealing more damage, and most of it, I think all of it, is scaling with attack speed. So let's look at Dance of Swords and Conviction. Dance of Swords is a skill that the boss actually uses quite often, but attacks all enemies to inflict continuous damage for 2 turns with a 30% chance to decrease their attack bar by 30% with a 30% chance. This attack cannot be counterattacked. That's Dance of Swords. Conviction attacks the enemy target 7 times to absorb the attack bar by 20% each. So Dance of Swords attacks will be increased by up to 3 times. So Dance of Swords will attack all enemies 3 times according to the attack speed, which is not good. So all your allies can have their attack bar potentially reduced by 90% by the time the boss gets to the 5th turn. When you look at Conviction, attacks the enemy target 7 times to absorb the attack bar by 20% each. The damage will be increased according to attack speed. You're already getting attacked 7 times. And let me tell you, when I first tried Punisher's Crypt, I brought Crow, because Crow is a dark unit. Punisher's Crypt boss is a light unit. Obviously, Crow has a damage advantage. Crow will get nuked. Your 2A Crow will get nuked. So it's just... boss is very, very powerful. Now, some of the ways that people might approach this boss is by, one, trying to bring a unit like Lauren. Lauren seems to be the end-all, be-all for a lot of dungeons. You think of dragons. She prevents the dragon's boss from moving. And you think, okay, well, none of these skills will be enhanced if the boss just doesn't move, right? So let's bring Lauren. Let's reduce the boss's attack bar. Wrong. Lauren will actually probably make you lose in this dungeon. How so? The reverser passive. The damage received will be decreased up to 70% according to the attack speed. Lauren does have attack speed decreasing effects, as well as attack bar reduction. But the last part of this skill, or this passive, you'll see, is a Lauren counter. So in addition, the attack bar of all allies will be increased up to 50% according to each of their attack speed when they are attacked. And the boss, in this part specifically, and the boss gains a turn instantly when the boss gets attack bar decreasing effects. So whenever you use a unit like Veramos's skill 2, any of Lauren's skills, Fran's skill 1, Naomi's skill 2, anything that will decrease the enemy's attack bar, the boss gains a turn instantly. So in fact, by bringing Lauren, the boss is gaining more turns. So you realize that a lot of units that you have in the beginning that you're probably relying on in the beginning are immediately just unusable. Due straight to the fact that they have attack bar decreasing effects. So you can't prevent the boss from taking their turn. You can only slow down the amount of times they take their turn. So by decreasing the boss's attack speed, you can make the boss just take a little bit longer to take their turn. But again, you could be like, okay, well, I could just bring a defense breaker, like maybe not Bella Dion, but any defense breaker, defense break the boss, and then just go in and nuke, right? Well, if you do that, you'd be ignoring the crystals, and the crystals aren't anything to joke about. The left crystal, aka the purification device, attacks all enemies to weaken their attack power for 2 turns with a 50% chance. Reducing your attack power, no bueno. Obviously, by decreasing your attack power, you're going to be dealing less damage. You deal less damage, the longer you're going to be there, meaning the more turns the boss is going to get, and the crystals are going to get. On top of that, the crystal removes all harmful effects granted on the boss. All your defense breaks, all your slows, beneficial effects block, your branding, anything that you bring, the boss will be cleansed of. And if that weren't bad enough, being cleansed and essentially being debuffed with the attack power break, the right crystal acceleration device increases the attack bar of another ally with the lowest HP status by 50%. That means even if you deal 1 damage to the boss, she will immediately benefit off of the acceleration device, gaining half of her attack bar. And on top of that, it increases the attack speed for 2 turns of the boss. So now the boss not only is the boss moving faster, but the boss is getting half her attack bar every time this crystal moves. And these crystals move a lot. So the issue with the boss is you can't ignore these crystals. So we'll talk about those crystals in a second. But continuing, also, reverser passive will reduce the damage received from enemies according to the attack speed. We had mentioned this a second ago. So try using monsters with the attack speed decreasing effect. It's important to finish the battle as soon as possible so the Punisher sword passive doesn't get enhanced from the Punisher acquiring certain turns. This is absolutely true. Whenever you try this dungeon, you're going to want to beat it as quickly as possible before the enemy takes too many turns. So with that, you might think, again, aim straight for the boss. That's not how you're going to do this. Whenever you build any team, I believe, unless, you have some super crazy endgame team, which, why are you even watching this video? But at first, whenever you build any team, you're actually going to aim for the boss last. I know that sounds crazy, especially since the boss will be able to get turns and enhance the Punisher's sword. But what you're going to do is you're going to aim for the left crystal, aka purification device, then the right crystal second, which is acceleration device, and then the boss. By doing this, you're preventing yourself from being attack broken, because you're going to essentially nuke out the purification device. So the boss, whenever you place defense breaks, branding, whatever on the boss, or attack speed slows, it will not get cleansed. Also, you'll never be attack broken, so you're dealing more damage. If you try to aim for the right crystal first, it'll take much longer because that left crystal will attack break you. Then you aim for acceleration device. By killing the right crystal, you're destroying the boss's source of attack speed buffs and attack bar increasing. So by the time you finally aim for the boss isn't getting an attack speed buff. The boss is probably going to be slowed by the units that you're bringing, and the boss is going to deal less damage because it's not going to have the attack speed buff. It's just everything's going to be better for you if you aim for the 2 crystals first. So remember, left crystal, right crystal, then the boss. So with that being said, let's go and make our teams. Okay, so when it comes to making our team for Punisher's Crypt, especially our free-to-play team, we have to take into consideration a few things. Number 1, we are at a disadvantage when it comes to fighting this boss. Unlike other dungeons where we can prevent the boss from moving via attack bar decreasing effects, we don't have that here. So what we can try to do is give ourselves more turns by increasing our attack bar. One free-to-play unit that's very famous for increasing our attack bar is Vertihile, or Vertihile, whichever you like to call him. Not only does he give us an attack speed increase, so we're taking more turns, but his passive, if I can click and hold on him, essentially increases the attack bar of all allies by 20% whenever his attacks land as a critical hit. And a lot of his attacks are 2 hits, so he's essentially going to be capable of boosting our attack bars like crazy. And you kind of want to monopolize on this by bringing other units that have co-ops. Units like Ryok, Crow, Ikaru, which are going to be units we bring. These units are very amazing because none of them have attack bar decreasing effects. That's one thing when I look at like damage dealers. Again, Veramos is a pretty good early on damage dealer, but he has attack bar decreasing effects. That's the annoying part about like building a team for this dungeon is you'll find a lot of units have attack bar decreasing effects. But Crow and Ryok have tons of damage, and even Ikaru, when you look at his kit, he himself brings a lot of damage regardless if he's built on defense. The fact that he's bringing allies up to 3, according to his defense, means that all of his allies that you're going to be bringing are most likely going to be built on some sort of damage. So if he's attacking with up to 3 allies, you're talking about if he attacks with Verd, you're getting even more attack bar. If you attack with Ryok or Crow, you're getting tons of damage. So it's going to allow us to kind of fly through this dungeon. The way you can kind of look at this right here is essentially the same as what the Trikaru team used to be, except not really as good, because Trikaru, you could just get out tons of co-op attack turns. But it's almost like Trikaru. If you've never seen Trikaru, you could look it up. But essentially, it's all about getting just out tons of turns. Even if the units like Ikaru aren't built on damage, just by the sheer amount of allies attacking all at once, you're just destroying enemies. But again, you get Ryok, who also has the team up, as well as Crow, who also has the team up, as well as increasing the damage he deals on team ups and on his last skill by harmful effects. The final unit that you're going to bring, in my opinion, I've seen a lot of people go either Fuko, which Fuko is not free to play, or they go Iragar, which I would go Iragar. Iragar is going to give you guys an attack buff, and he's going to put the vampire effect, so you guys will heal based off of the damage you deal, which is really good because everyone on here is going to deal tons of damage. The only unit that isn't dealing exactly a ton of damage is Ikaru, but Ikaru is going to be all good because he's on defense. He's super tanky. You would probably bring units like Fron, but remember Fron's skill 1 has attack bar decreasing effects, which can pretty much give the boss another turn. And units like Riley, while Riley is a good unit, makes your team a bit slower. So this is the ultimate free-to-play team. One thing to note is obviously your Verd and your Iragar should kind of be a little bit fast. Mine don't have crazy speed, but they're fast enough, but they need to be fast, right? But on top of that, Crow, the Dark Inagami, is going to be built a little bit differently than how a lot of you guys might have him built. When I tried using this team, because this is a very popular team, I had Crow on attack, crit damage, attack. You do not want him on that. Remember, the boss is a light attribute. And the boss has conviction, and that first skill, Crow will get nuked off this planet. He will die quick. And when Crow dies, it starts taking you guys a whole lot longer to beat the stage. So, change Crow around to attack, crit damage, HP if you can, to increase his survivability. The more he survives, the more success you're going to find in this dungeon. And trust me, if you can make up for his missing attack and crit damage by farming Necropolis, go farm Necropolis before you farm here, you'll be just fine. But so I want to show you real quick how my Crow is built. You're going to see there's a lot of HP or defense in his substats. And even here in his artifacts, there's HP here. I try to increase the damage he deals according to enemies' max HP as they have more HP. So you see crit damage as the enemy has more HP, and you can also see damage taken from light minus 16%. You really want to prevent Crow from taking, or from just being nuked, right? As long as Crow can live long enough, the damage that's going to be increased due to him, dealing damage based off of harmful effects on his skill 2 and 3, he'll make up for the damage. So he's on Rage Blade, almost 230% crit damage, still a good amount of attack and HP, pretty decent defense. He should be fine. Make your Crow a hybrid. With that being said, also the same for Irogar. My Irogar is on speed, crit damage, HP. Made him a little bit tankier because you do not want your Irogar to die either. He's your source of healing. He's your source of attack buffs. So with that being said, let's finally get into the dungeon. Oh, man, I tell you, Punisher's Crypt, I believe, is the hardest PvE dungeon to enter, other than, like, TOA Hell. But, like, absolutely difficult, in the sense that it's just, like, the amount of... Creating a free-to-play team that functions is hard. I didn't create this team, by the way. This team has been in use. But, some people, when they try this team... Like, when I tried this team for the first time, I won, like, a few of them, but then I was losing also quite a few. And I was like, why is that happening? Crow dies. I'm like, why is Crow on the team if he's just going to die easily? And obviously it's just, oh, well, yeah, because he's tanky. So, I have another free-to-play team that isn't quite as fast as this team. But if you don't want to have to ruin your Crow any different, you could use the other team. So, left crystal. Prevent that from really... destroying our attack power. And you should be able to pretty much nuke all these crystals down. It's not going to take you forever. Like you see with all the team ups and the attack bar pushing from Vertihile, you're going to pretty much destroy these crystals fairly quickly. But once that happens, the boss is no longer going to have a buffer or anything. So once he takes that turn, he loses the attack speed. And Irogar is special in the sense that he does have attack speed decreasing effects. So once you destroy both crystals, look, the boss just took its 5th turn, and it's about dead. There you go. But I've seen this team in the strategy info, and without context on how to build these champions, you're going to try this team, and you're going to lose, and you're going to be like, what the heck? Why is my team losing? You have to build Crow as a hybrid. Crow is susceptible to damage here. We're going to do this one more time. But he takes way too much damage because he's a dark unit. The same for Irogar. You have to build them semi-tank. Which is sad, but so be it. But that's why I tell you guys, farm Necropolis. Farm every other dungeon first. Even Rift Raid. I mean, trust me, all those dungeons are easier, and they're going to give you everything you need to be able to take on this dungeon and beat it with relative ease. I mean, Rage Runes are a big deal. Crit damage is a big deal. And on top of that, enchantment gems or enchanted gems to be able to switch around substats, really big. Grindstones to enhance stats so you can make up for your missing attack percent, so you can make up for missing HP, whatever. And the substats are really big. Artifacts are important, but runes are even more important. Rune quality is super important. And if looking through the monster usage or monster info on any of these monsters have taught me anything is that a lot of people, they don't pay attention to their rune quality. I'm not saying that my runes are perfect, but heck, you guys make me think that it's a whole lot better than y'all's. So Crow should be able to come in and scar, right? No, he's going to team up. Boom. It's fine. There we go. Boom. Oh, we got branding. That boss is done for. But after building this team, I've never experienced a loss. Yeah, the team is around a minute 20, a minute 30, but I think no one's going to have really a problem with that. So a minute 44, completely fine. Let me introduce you guys to a different unit though. Okay, so here we have Nickel. He's the water living armor, his 2A. So with Nickel, in case you don't want to switch around your Crow's runes, you want your Crow on attack, crit damage attack, you could always build a Nickel, and you don't have to build him like how I've built him. I just say make him tanky, make him accurate. Like, you see mine's 73% accuracy. So let me show you kind of what he does. Skill 1, if the enemy has defense reduction effects, its attack speed is decreased whenever he uses his skill 1. His skill 2 attacks all enemies, decreasing their defense for 3 turns, which is really nice. But his passive is what really makes him good for like this dungeon. He gains immunity against inability effects and continuous damage effects, so he won't die to dots. In addition, he removes one beneficial effect granted on the attacker, and it decreases their attack speed for 2 turns whenever you're attacked. So being able to strip the attack speed buff off of the boss and to essentially place an attack speed slow on the boss is really nice. But I'm gonna be making a video on him very soon to just show you guys how I built him and all. I mean, you see Rageblade, but I want to make a video on him soon. But AoE defense break, so could help with wave clear. But I think it's like you should just get your Rayoke and just build it on a hybrid. That or build, not Rayoke, your Crow. Get your Crow and build him hybrid. Build 2 Crows if you need to. 1 hybrid and 1 super high in damage. I mean, it's not like it would be that hard. Boom. So with this team, we do lose a bit of damage. It's not too incredibly slow, especially compared to that 1 minute and 44 run that you saw. But it's safer in the sense that you can strip off the attack speed and all that. But on top of that, this might, I don't know, I haven't really noticed it being more dangerous. I guess it could be because it's like Irogar is now the sole focus. But Nickel's a pretty interesting unit. And you're going to use Nickel in a couple other places. I've seen Nickel being used in Labyrinth. But you'll be able to use Nickel on future teams. He's used on a couple speed teams. Of course, this isn't a speed team by any means. Let's see. Boom. So, there we go. We stripped the attack speed buff off of the boss. Killed the crystal. We can go in. Nice. So that wasn't that bad. That's probably like a minute 50-ish. Minute 47. So not too far off. And it gives you a reason to build Nickel. Let's try some not so free-to-play teams. So one team that we displayed earlier into the week, and you're going to notice a lot of these teams revolve around using Verd, Double Rayoke, and Irogar. And I think that's what you're going to be using forever on this team, on this boss essentially. The counterattacks, the co-op attacks, whatever you want to call it, the co-op attacks is really the biggest part of it. But essentially what we're doing is, with any of these new teams, what we're doing is we're replacing like Crow with attack speed decreasing units. Fuko has attack speed decreasing effects on his first and final skill. or on his passive. Plus, he has a shield, which is really nice. And he's damaged, so unlike Crow, he does have attack speed decreasing effects. But unlike Nickel, he has damage, which is nice. And if the boss manages to break the shield, he will counterattack with his skill 2, which is nice. Which the skill 2 has a defense break. So we're just gonna, I guess, watch this play out. But remember this, by the way, this is a beginner's guide. This isn't gonna give you any speed teams or anything like that. Speed teams for most dungeons are really created by having really amazing runes. You're only gonna have amazing runes by farming it. I'm just helping you guys beat it initially. But so don't think I'm gonna give you a team that's gonna complete this in under a minute. You need to have really good runes. You need to have units that are fully skilled up. Units that just have really good stats, so you're getting really good times. Like my Giants team, for example. While Giants isn't the hardest dungeon to get a speed team on, it's like even then, my units in my Giants team are ruined pretty well. And they're getting around a minute. So we're doing pretty good. There we go. Let's try one more team. So I want to try this. I think this would be a pretty interesting team. We have Harazveil instead of Ireguard, so we lose our healing, but Harazveil can get out tons of damage. He has the branding, he has attack speed increasing, which is better for us, an attack buff. Harazveil can dish out his own amount of damage, which is really nice. I mean, look at that. Oh my gosh, disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Boom, branding. Oh my gosh, that is... Oh my gosh. They're doing pretty freaking good. Harazveil, my boy. Oh my god, I love building some of these 4 stars. It's like, gosh, man. Let's see. So we get an attack speed buff, attack buff. Harazveil is now going to deal crazy amounts of damage. Let's get a defense buff or break. Boom, branding. Boss is attacking for the first time. We don't care about your attacks. They mean nothing to us. Scar. Boom. And if Crow dies, who cares? Crow's surviving. Never mind. Attack buff, attack speed buff. Oh my gosh. Harazveil. Oh. Oh man. A minute 30. I think that's all that needs to be said. I helped you guys in beating this. I hope it made sense. Help it make sense to you guys. I hope you guys have fun farming for artifacts. Artifacts are going to be a really big deal. Keep all the hero, aka the purple, and the legendaries, aka the orange or yellow ones. Sell every other artifact and get the farming, because again, artifacts are important, but I think runes are more important. But I hope you guys have a nice video. Subscribe to the channel. I mean, we kind of reached 1K today. It's back down to 999. Get us up to 1K. Get us above 1K. You know, after 1K, our goal is 5K. So let's subscribe to the video. Come on. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.